All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier iHypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. And a special warm welcome, of course, to all of you who are tuning in, watching this live, or maybe you're watching this later as a recording in our curated podcast, the iHypnosis Life Coaching Journeys. Now, for those of you who've been around here many times before, you know that this podcast is a special one because we've been working really hard to find some truly amazing healers and coaches, people who are not only on their personal journey, but they've also realized that they have a mission that's bigger than them. And this year, of course, we set it upon ourselves that we would reach out to people that we may or may not know directly, but when we get to know about them, we not only get curious, but this is the opportunity for you to get to meet some truly amazing healers and coaches. And I have somebody in our midst. In case you haven't already seen her write up, you'll get to hear about her in a few moments. Of course, Priyanka, this is your cue. So you can turn on your camera, and a warm welcome to you. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for, making this moment to be here on our pod. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for inviting me in this forum. I mean, I'm so excited to be here and share my personal journey as well.
Nice. So full disclosure here, we met just about a week ago, and I know you had one or two questions, and I said, I don't mean to be rude, but I make it a point to ask all the questions about what you do, and get to know you better live, so that I'm literally hearing this for the very first time, and I'm sure that people who are tuned into your energy, into what you do, they will really benefit from this, because a lot of times we don't get to know our the story, or what what really motivates people that we are drawn to, whether they are mentors, whether they are people we really hold in high regard, yeah, whether they're in the role of therapists or healers or coaches, whatever it be. A lot of times we really don't know, like, how did they get here. So maybe before we even start, um, in your words, could you, if somebody said, okay, so Priyanka, what do you do?
Okay, so I'm a clinical psychologist and a psychotherapist, and I specialize in
Nice.
relationships, that is, postmarital, premarital,
Mm,
teenagers, and families, parenting, all of this. And of course, I do psychotherapy for
mm,
mental health issues like anxiety, depression, phobia,
mm,
trauma, grief, low self esteem, anger, all kinds of mental health issues, even clinical, non clinical.
mm.
Yeah, I work from Ken's Corner, and uh, I deal with basically right from 9 years to 65 years of age group.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
have a wide range of people coming with wide range of problems. So yeah, I mean, I deal with practically all kind of issues where mental and relationships are concerned.
Amazing. Wow. Wow. So I just realized one thing, and like I said, this is the flip side of working from the home studio. I don't know if you can pick up the fan noise. So I'm going to take exactly like 2 seconds while I just quickly switch. I'll be right back. Yeah. Thank you for your patience. So here's what we're going to do. Um, you actually spoke a lot about many different topics and subtopics. I'm sure people who are listening to this would want to know more about it, but I believe that it's our past, it's our history that has given us that energy to keep going and doing the amazing work that we're doing today. So, in your words, I'd love for you to share, like, how did you get here? Like, what was that journey? Like, some people call it the hero's journey. We get these, opportunities or moments, and we make decisions, and all of that now, when you look back, has brought you here. So, in your words, take us along with you on the journey. Like, how did you get
Hmm.
here?
So my journey is Very interesting, actually. The thing is, I was
Mm-hmm.
actually a designer earlier. I was a fashion
Wow.
designer, and I was extremely dynamic. I used to. I had many dreams of being a big designer in
Mm-hmm.
life and having my own boutique, having my own fashion show. I had
Mm.
done my degree in fashion designing that
Wow.
time, and I was extremely social. And in my college days
Mm.
also, people never even imagined that I
Mm.
would actually become a psychologist. It was just totally all my old friends, then when they meet up and they think, hey,
Mm.
how come you have become a psychologist, you're a designer. I mean, it is like a totally different personality altogether.
Right.
But my
Right.
life experiences, as well as I discovered so many things about myself during these experiences,
Mm.
that
Mm.
I meant for this. Because right from the
Mm.
beginning, in my childhood, I was always a person where I used to go out of my way to help people,
Mm.
always empathizing,
Mm.
and always just going out of my way to help people. So people always
Mm.
thought that I'm just a social kind of a person, but I didn't know myself that I'm extremely empathetic. So then in college also, they used to call me like a grandmom. You know, like they used to say, "Ki you are much more older than your age. Why you keep lecturing all the
Mm.
time?" And
Mm.
also they used to always get their problems to me. Like whoever has issues, they used to come to me. And I used to keep giving them
Mm.
lectures, empathizing, giving them time. I never
Mm.
realized that I have this problem. But once one of my friend told me, hey, you should be a counselor. And I'm like, hey, it's such a boring job. I'm not in for it. It's so
Mm.
cheesy. It's not in fashion and all of that. Nobody even so that
Mm.
time in my era, I mean, counselors were hardly even known. And
Yeah.
in fact, I never even knew
Mm.
that who's a psychologist also, that time.
Mm.
So yeah, I
Mm.
mean, as and when time passed, I got married really early at the age of 22, 23,
Mm.
and I got a child
Mm.
very fast. Like within a year. And then of course the dreams of me being a great designer, and being in having my own fashion show, everything went down the drain.
Mm.
And got into the
Mm.
motherhood, got into families. My mother-in-law was an Alzheimer's patient, and
Oh.
taking care of her, and taking care of children,
Mm.
being a housewife because I couldn't work. There were a lot of issues,
Mm.
because of which I couldn't work. So I thought that
Mm.
let me try with batch flowers. Now I started with batch flower therapy.
Mm.
Now the batch flower therapy is a therapy where there are flower essences, and
Mm.
there are wildflowers which are actually found in the deep forests of London, and we make essences out of that.
Mm.
And then we these are healing flowers, and we dilute it with water and give it to our clients. So it
Right.
is very nice, it's beautiful. So I thought, let me try that, like, because I wanted to do something part time, because I
Mm.
had two kids and they were quite kind of small and very tiny. But I always had this drive
Right.
to do something for the society. Like I had that drive to make a difference in people's life. It used to give me a lot of pleasure when
Mm.
I used to help my friends, when I used to
Mm.
lecture them, and
Mm.
when they used to really like it. I used to love it. It used to create some kind of
Mm.
dopamine in my life, in my body. I used to, like, uh, um, I mean,
Nice.
I always even in the middle of the night, I used to just do, even during my
Yeah.
exams, I used to leave my paper and I used to help
Mm.
others. It was like that. I used to score less
Right.
and they used to score more because I was busy helping people. So but
Right.
I never repent that, because I used to like it. So
Mm.
but
Mm.
I never knew that that would actually help me in my profession. So in
Mm.
bachelor therapy,
Mm.
I started with that. Then slowly, I realized that only batch flowers are not enough, because yes, it helps in
Mm.
reducing the symptoms of depression, anxiety, or whatever, but
Mm.
it definitely doesn't change the belief system of the person, the way they think, the way they act, the way
Mm.
they take decisions
Mm.
in life, the way they
Mm.
perceive, the ways they interpret. how are they going to change all of that? Because that is the core problem, right?
Correct.
So later on I decided to do something more. I thought, let me do life coaching, because I now, while bachelor therapy, of course I have to take the entire case history, but once they feel better, they need to actually do some hands-on physical changes in their life, right? I mean, they have
Right.
to literally do some major changes so that things change. So I used to do a little bit of counseling anyway. So I started doing life coaching to understand more about myself, about the therapy, about how to change their belief system and stuff like that. Then I did life coaching. Then I became a life coach. Then I did a lot of workshops, a lot of seminars, a lot of webinars, and then people started actually seeing a lot of difference. They loved the way I speak. They loved the way I help people. And then eventually, somebody told me, I think you're a great coach. Why don't you actually do something in masters, Then I'm like, see, I'm already a counselor. I don't know why I even need to do it. I'm like, any which ways I'm doing good. Like, people are liking my coaching and all. She's like, no, it will add on to your credibility. Then I learned, then I did my master's in clinical psychology. And then I did my postgraduate, because my interest kept on increasing. My
Yeah.
the greed for learning kept on increasing. And psychology is such a subject where you keep going inside, and there is no end to it.
Yeah.
It's totally unlimited.
True.
Right now also, after learning so much, I still feel I have not learned enough, because I have done at least 30 to 40 courses, like practitioner certifications. I've done my licensed NLP practitioner course. I'm also a practitioner. I'm a sex therapist. I'm a career counselor. I've done so many of them. I've done so many therapies. Before I did my masters, I had did all these therapies. In fact, I did cognitive behavioral therapy before I did my masters, because I knew that exists and it's going to help me in my practice anyway.
Right.
So as I told you, I already became most of it. Like, I became a therapist then only, and then I did my master's just for the degree sake. So I did my degree, and then I did my post graduation, because I wanted to specialize in relationships.
Right.
So since I was, a mother of two, dealing with patients at home, dealing with so many conflicts at home, it was a difficult journey where I had to deal with a lot of emotional trauma. There was a time when I was into depression. I also did a lot of spirituality. Then I was followed, because of so much of issues in my family life. I followed spirituality as well, which gave me a lot of knowledge, which gave me a lot of strength and tolerance, and a lot of positive perspective, which helped me to go through that journey a little easily. If I would not have followed spirituality, it would have been impossible for me to sustain there, you know. And yeah, I mean, that really helped me, and I still follow that. It gave me a lot of insights, a lot of truth of life, a lot of direction in life, and a lot of goals of life as well. My purpose of life
Right.
was defined by that spirituality, so it helped me to take this path even more, because now I got a new goal where I'm going to use my skills to give people direction in life, and because they all are lost. I mean, believe me, I've been doing this thing since so many years. People are lost as to what is the purpose of life. They don't know only that they're just living like animals. Literally. So there are four things which animals do. That is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These things people do, and they don't have any kind of structure in life. They sleep with anyone, they eat anything, they don't have a routine. I mean, you cannot tell a tiger, hey, come on, let's go for breakfast, so it's like that. uh so the same thing, the human beings are also actually doing kind of thing, where they're just live with the flow. There is no purpose in life. They just do all these four things, and they feel that's bliss. Okay, but there's a higher bliss as well,
Right.
which people don't realize it.
Mm.
So I got a purpose of life with that entire journey when I was following, and when I felt that I'm helping people and people are getting significant results, I started learning more, and I did a specialization in relationships. Then I did my post graduation in couples, family, and marriage counseling. And I specialize in relationships because I know that the source of happiness is relationships. Mean that is, according to the research, it is proven where there is not so good relationships, people are not happy even if they are billionaires, you know, even if they have a lot
True.
of money, but when they have not good relationships, they are always suffering, you know. This is
Mm.
in the material
Mm.
plane, of course, but
True.
otherwise in the
Yeah.
spiritual
Yeah.
plane the happiness is something else.
Mm.
But otherwise
Mm.
in this world, having good relationships is very important. Plus there are people who
Mm.
don't have any relationships, they are all alone, that is also a problem,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
Mm.
what I have
Mm.
also understood about relationships and about people and soul and everything, where the nature of the soul is to love people and to get loved by people, you know. And
Mm.
if you're alone and you have nobody to love
Right.
and you have nobody to share your love
Mm.
with anyone, you feel lonely.
Mm.
I mean, you'll
Mm.
actually find them very
Right.
abnormal also. I mean, have you seen people only loving
Mm.
themselves and not loving others and not doing anything for an? I mean, you will not, you will feel, hey, there is something wrong with that person because he's not sharing anything,
Mm.
you know. So yeah, I
Right.
mean, the nature of the soul is to exchange love, and that gives you bliss. And
Mm.
how do you do that? The
Mm.
people have lost that
Right.
formula itself, how to actually love people. They don't
Mm.
know that formula of love, you know.
Nice.
So
Mm.
that's where I thought that I want to teach them. And people think that just by having so many relationships, hey, that you love. No, it's not like that. So that's why I did
Mm.
specialization in relationships, and
Mm.
uh, and then my journey began as a clinical psychologist and a psychotherapist, and
Mm.
I also
Mm.
do sex therapy, where there are people
Mm.
suffering related to this part of life as well, because of which they
Mm.
again can't exchange love, and there are issues in the marriages,
Mm.
you know. So
Mm.
yeah, this is a biggest problem. So this is how my journey was, where I became a
Mm.
psychologist by slowly
Right.
realizing, experiencing.
Mm.
My academic journey is hardly say 20%, but my 80% is my experience,
Mm.
which I use it in my therapy, you
Right.
know, which brings
Mm.
great success, as well as more understanding about where they are coming from, and also diagnosing the root
Mm.
cause of the problem, the core issues of the relationship or the
Mm.
mental health is also
Mm.
coming from my experience more than the academics, you know.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, because what we see is not is necessarily be truth, because there are so many
Mm.
underlying
True.
issues, there is so much background
Correct.
to it, there's so much of
Mm.
childhood and experiences of the past and the experiences of so many people,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
amalgamates related to the knowledge of having the core
Mm.
issues at the present in the person's
Right.
life, you know. So that's why in the person's
Mm.
life,
Mm.
it's not necessary whatever they are going through right now and whatever the beliefs they have right now is
Mm.
related to the present
Mm.
issue. No, there's a big history to it,
Right.
there's an entire cultural
Mm.
background to it, the entire generation to it, you know, the entire society pressure to it, you know, where we need to understand
Yeah.
where what is the age group, as well as where what is the
Mm.
background behind that entire experience the
Mm.
person is going through.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, this
Correct.
is my journey.
That's beautiful. So, couple of questions because, as I said, the purpose of being able to track someone's coaching journey or healing journey, as one would look at it, is that one is we talk this podcast has been created primarily keeping in mind people like us, right? People who have, especially, since there was this unifying event that happened 5 years ago, and a lot of people were woken up, a lot of people changed the trajectory of their life, and maybe they had dreams many years ago, but when life took over for maybe a decade or two, um, obviously I'm talking about 2020, and there was this sort of awakening or reawakening that happened for a lot of people, and people have kind of started to make changes in their lives, right? They've started to make different decisions, and they've started to reskill themselves, they started to teach themselves, obviously also reaching out to mentors. So the purpose of me, asking these questions also is so that people are able to see, that they look at you today as, like a picture of success, that wow, you're doing all these things, you have all of these, accolades that obviously prove that you've been able to find your, your purpose. You've been able to really connect to something deeper and something much bigger than you. But a lot of times people forget that there was a journey that led here. So one of the things that struck me when I was listening to you was you talked about spirituality. Again, because it's understood differently by different people. Could you share your perspective? Like when you say that you even, maybe I'm kind of like mixing up the words, but basically it's like, you found spirituality or you connected with spirituality, and that has played a big, from what it sounds like, it has played an important role in your journey. Walk us through how that happened. Like, what was it? Was it a, like, I won't even put words in your mouth. Like, how did you come across spirituality, and how did that kind of start to shape your perspective and you as a person?
Honestly, generally people get into spirituality for a few
Hmm.
reasons. One is
Hmm.
distress. When people are in
Hmm.
distress, they get into
Hmm.
spirituality. And one is the person who's very
Correct.
inquisitive, okay, where they want to
Hmm.
know so many things and all of that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm always an inquisitive person, and
Hmm.
I'm like a question mark, like
Hmm.
extremely logical, extremely practical person.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like there is this movie called what is that? Where this guy has a question mark in his head.
The Riddler.
No, a Hindi movie.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hmm.
Whatever. The thing is, I'm similar to that. Like I always
Hmm.
have a question mark here.
Hmm.
So when I was going through distress, I approached spirituality.
Hmm.
I did not approach, but it's just that my friend introduced me
Hmm.
to this. So basically, I
Ah.
follow ISKCON. Okay, and over there,
Hmm.
I used to just go and just for the sake of it. I mean, I was not really interested.
Hmm.
I was not so spiritual ever in my life.
Hmm.
I was like very very
Hmm.
logical. I never used to believe in fasting. I never used to believe in, you know, uh, all of this, like what is this, so much of philosophy and why a person has to do something what they're doing, and
Hmm.
it's all like I used to find it very superficial. So when I went
Hmm.
to this temple, and my friend used to take me just for that shit,
Hmm.
just like that, you go and have and
Hmm.
come back. That's it. You
Hmm.
just have a little bit of food and come back.
Wow.
So there were some lectures going on, and
Hmm.
I really connected with my daily life, you know, and
Wow.
day to day life. See, the
Hmm.
thing is when you are spiritual and there's no logic behind it, you will not be able to sustain for a longer period, you know. And when
Hmm.
there is just
Hmm.
blind faith, it is temporary. So it is very important to
Hmm.
know the reason behind whatever you're doing. You should never have blind faith in
Hmm.
anything. So whenever I used to
Hmm.
go and I said I want to know what it is all about, like I was very inquisitive.
Hmm.
And one or two lectures I understood, hey, this is something which is really, really practical. I want to know more about life, about karmas, about,
Hmm. Hmm.
what is this, like good, bad, and everything. Like, what is this fasting?
Right.
I don't believe in fasting. I used to say, what is this?
Hmm.
So I used to go and ask them at least 20, 25 questions each time. And the
Hmm.
lady over
Hmm.
there, the She was so kind to answer each and everything without judgment,
Mm.
without any,
Mm.
making me feel very uncomfortable. And you were asking stupid questions. What is this? And I used to ask
Mm.
stupid questions also because I wanted to know everything.
Mm. Mm.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, this really makes sense. And slowly, I started following the process, and I saw the transformation in myself, in my thinking styles
Mm.
itself, automatically. Like,
Nice.
I could see the
Mm.
goodness. I mean, I could see that I've become more
Mm.
kinder, more softer. I
Mm.
could see more. I became more
Mm.
compassionate. I became more empathetic.
Mm.
I became more, you can
Mm.
say, more sweeter in my approach with people, and more helpful. So that
Mm.
transformation automatically came in me, you know and I
Mm.
felt that whatever I'm doing right now, being very generally, I'm more
Mm.
compassionate, and I do a lot of social cause because I feel that
Mm.
somewhere I feel it's my duty to do all of these things, because
Mm.
I feel responsible, because I have so much of knowledge and ability. Why shouldn't I help people with this?
Mm.
you know
Correct.
so
Correct.
I
Correct.
feel responsible, because the thing is, where I got these abilities, I got it because of the spirituality also, to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Because it
Mm.
made me
Yeah.
feel that
True.
it is our duty to contribute to our society, who's giving us so much,
Beautiful.
in
Mm.
return. It's not
Mm.
like the society is not giving us. We feel they're not giving us, but then
Mm.
society does give us a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight. They teach us a lesson.
Mm.
They what do you call, make us go through so much of hardships also, and from there we learn so much,
Mm.
you know and then we
Correct.
become human
Mm.
beings. Otherwise we are just animals, as I told you.
Yeah.
you know how would
Mm.
we use our intelligence? The
Mm.
difference between animals and humans are that we have extra intelligence to understand the logic between right
Mm.
and wrong, and
Mm.
the following the
Mm.
right path. And
Yeah.
being human is something different than being animals. There's a huge difference. and
Mm.
and as I
True.
told you, people are
True.
actually following animalistic life. So yeah, I mean, I think this spiritual life
Mm.
has actually made me human, where I used to feel that even I would think, like, nowadays things are so different. I would have also thought that way. Everybody's selfish. They want to follow their own journey, but I want to make a life in
Right.
people, a change in people's life. And I
Mm.
feel this spirituality has given me a purpose where
Mm.
once I
Right.
am to that level where I can change the belief system
Mm.
of the person, I can
Mm.
rewire their
Mm.
thinking styles. I can,
Mm.
if I have the
Mm.
ability to change their entire mindset towards humanity, I
Mm.
can get them to
Mm.
spirituality also, where they can get a higher purpose. And it's not necessary that they have to connect
Mm.
to spirituality only what I'm doing. It could be anything, whatever they like.
Right.
But people are becoming
Mm.
atheist also, to a certain extent. And that's
Mm.
nothing wrong.
Mm.
It's nothing wrong to be atheist.
Mm.
But the thing is,
Mm.
it's about being human again, where you need to be a little more kinder,
Mm.
more compassionate, more in the mode of
Mm.
goodness, more sweeter. That thing
Mm.
is missing. That being kinder is
Mm.
missing.
Right.
Being more merciful, being
Mm.
more compassionate is missing
Mm.
from humans.
Right.
So
Mm.
here is what I want to do, and the spirituality has given me that purpose where I want to make this, they give a
Nice.
new insights to people, with my knowledge, with my
Mm.
experience, with my talent.
Mm.
I'm not
Mm.
saying that I'm talented. I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm so knowledgeable. No, but how much ever I've got, I think I can do little bit
Mm.
change at least. You know,
Correct.
something I can
Correct.
change in them,
Mm.
where they can
Mm.
start thinking differently towards life.
Mm.
The purpose of life
Mm.
should change. They should ask a lot of
Mm.
whys. They should
Yeah.
ask, why am I
Right.
here? Why am I doing this?
Mm.
There was one
Mm.
guy who came to me. It's very amazing. I mean,
Mm.
I was so impressed that he came to. I was
Mm.
so happy actually he came to me. He was a teenager. He was just 17, 18. But
Mm.
literally he was in depression. You know why? His father came to me. He's like, yeah, he wants to die, and he's saying, I don't want to live, and what is the purpose of life, and this is no use. Guess what? He was a topper of the school, and he
Wow.
wanted to be a doctor. He was appearing for NEET, and he was amazingly intelligent, like he was a, a bookworm, and he was very clear that he wants to become a doctor, and he was not at all distracted, but he was in depression.
Right.
That he was saying, why should I be a doctor? Tell me, why should I be a doctor? And I know I'm going to die anyway. Everybody dies. What is the use of me
Oh,
being a
wow.
doctor if I have to die? And I can't
Wow.
see any purpose of life. I don't want to live,
Mm.
and so he was from a Jain family, and of course I follow something else, right? But most of the theories, the philosophies of spirituality is quite common. Okay, it's quite similar. It's little different, but it's quite similar. The philosophy is similar. So I gave him the
Sure.
gyan, the knowledge of whatever I knew about spirituality. Like he's like, then okay, fine. You die. Then I'm like, okay, you die. Then that entire cycle of birth and death I explained, all of that. Maybe many people may not understand now, but he understood because he was in the same. He could understand. He was already studying all of that but he did not know what to do. So
Right.
even he had that knowledge, he could not
Mm.
understand what to do. So I explained a lot of
Mm.
philosophy, and it took only 2 sessions for me to do that. But
Nice.
he got so much of insights. I mean, his depression went away within 1 session, and I was so happy. I mean,
Amazing.
and I want people to ask me these
Mm.
questions. You know, I want them to
Mm.
ask, "Hey,
Mm.
why should I be a doctor? Why should I be an engineer?
Correct.
What is the purpose of
Correct.
life? Why do I have to live?
Mm.
What is the higher purpose?"
Mm.
And honestly, there are
Mm.
so many
Mm.
intelligent people in our life, in our society, that
Mm.
they can make big
Mm.
differences in people's life, because
Yeah.
intelligence is
Yeah.
like koot koot ke bhara hua hai, like in they're like a
Bilkul.
lot, like
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
like filled with intelligence, but people are using in the wrong
Mm.
direction. They are
Mm.
using it in the
True.
direction of how to get more money only, and that too in a wrong
Mm.
way, you know where they can use the same intelligence in the
Right.
right way and make a lot of other things also in people's life, where they can contribute into people's
Mm.
society, in the society, in different
Mm.
ways, but they don't
Mm.
do that because they are
Right.
clouded with a lot of
Mm.
materialistic people things in life, where they think that
Mm.
the source of happiness is what? The source of happiness is money,
Mm.
girls
Right.
and boys and sex, and that's it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's all about it. That's what they
Mm.
think. Okay, fine. Now I got a
Mm.
client that day, and she had a problem in her married life, and she said, see, now I'm
Mm.
very clear about it, that my emotional support my friends are giving, my kid is taken care of by my husband. He's a little away, but it's okay. Financial
Mm.
support I have because I'm also earning and my husband is also earning. And my sexual life is
Mm.
taken care of by something else outside. Okay. Now
Mm.
all the needs are
Mm.
separated and fulfilled by other people,
Mm.
separate sources of,
Correct.
So why should I even get married again?
Mm.
I'm okay being separated from my
Mm.
husband in the same house where all my needs are getting fulfilled.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, what about the higher purpose? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, the thing is, higher
Mm.
purpose, there are, when you want to reach a higher uh, plane of life, the bliss which the person
Yeah.
realizes is totally different. So that is why I told
Mm.
you that people are just living animalistic life where there is no purpose in life. They're just going with the flow, and they feel all the needs
Mm.
are supposed to be fulfilled, whether it is from anywhere, doesn't
Mm.
matter,
Correct.
and they feel
Mm.
it's okay. But once
Mm.
they realize there is something
Mm.
more to do in life, they will understand that this bliss what they are experiencing is something which is hardly 10-20%, and there's much more 80%
Mm.
to experience.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. So you, what I love about these podcasts is that every guest brings something that's very unique to them. If someone was to read your bio, there would be the conventional questions, what kind of therapies and so on and so forth. We'll obviously, within the time frame, I'm sure we'll get to that. But what I love about just the way that you've tapped into your story and you've talked about, and obviously your experiences with spirituality really were deep, right? Because they have sort of reshaped you and how you look at the world and how you're intending to, make a difference in the world, right? Something else that you said right now struck me very, very deeply, which is, when even today, when we talk about purpose, that's something that it's like when you know, right? So I'd love for you to share, you know, what was that moment, or when was that moment that you experienced when you realized that, oh, this is my purpose, this is what I'm meant to do. What was that moment like for you when you had that sort of like a awakening or a reawakening?
See, now, there was a time when I was very
Mm,
distressed, as I told you, and that is the time, of course, I got realization of my purpose of life, and
mm,
it reshaped my entire actions. You know,
mm, mm,
the
mm,
time was when my kids were little, actually, and I had experienced bliss once. So when we do
mm,
some meditation and all of that, you know,
mm,
we have certain experiences, and
mm,
when we really feel that, hey, this is
mm,
truth, man. I mean, it's not
mm,
just an imagination or just a made up story or just a feel good factor.
mm,
It's not that. It's reality, you know.
mm.
And
Sure.
when I
Mm,
experienced that thing, I was into tears, and I didn't want to get
mm,
back to reality, like the real life. I was like, hey, I want to be there, and to be there, it's not easy. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when those experiences came, I came to know this experience is
Mm,
bliss, and I want everybody to experience that. And
right.
I wanted that. I wanted to give that knowledge to everyone.
Mm,
I wanted everybody to come where I'm there, So that's where
mm,
I chose to take this purpose of life. See, the thing is, that
mm,
time I had not chosen that that's my purpose. But
mm.
when you experience that
Correct.
bliss, being in that
Mm,
uh, being in that moment of experiencing the bliss,
yeah,
then you
yeah,
realize that this is something so
yeah.
beautiful. I want my kids to follow that. I want my entire
Mm,
family to follow it. I want the world to follow it. But believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy to
yeah,
where
yeah.
people actually come and start believing all of these things. It's difficult because to rewire their
Mm,
belief system, and to
yes,
rewire the
yes.
beliefs of the society, because the
Mm,
societal beliefs are much more stronger, because it's coming from culture to culture to culture,
mm,
like from
correct,
generation after
correct.
generation and generation,
True, true.
so
Yeah.
this entire world is functioning with a set of belief system, and it's a rat race where everybody goes and
Mm,
follows the same thing.
mm,
And if you don't follow,
mm,
you are outcasted, you know and they have the
mm,
fear of being outcasted. So that is why
mm,
people don't. So I had a purpose where I don't want them to feel outcasted. In fact, they should feel this is normal,
mm.
you know.
Right,
Hence, that's became
right.
my purpose of life. But to achieve
Mm,
that purpose, you have to remove the weeds from your
mm,
path, you know, because
right,
those weeds are
right.
those external pains which you get, right? I mean, if you are
Mm,
troubled, if you are distressed all the time and you have so
mm,
many issues,
mm,
it's
mm,
hard for you to concentrate on
mm.
the purpose of your life, you know.
True,
So
true,
you have to work
true.
on your practical problems also in life,
Mm,
along with the
mm,
purpose. So
mm,
yeah, there was another purpose which I wanted my kids to be into the spirituality and get
mm,
rid of this,
mm,
material things and come to a spiritual plane as well. This is my another purpose of life, a goal of life. But as I told you, it's not easy because again, there are so many weeds
Yeah.
and toxicity in life that you
Mm.
have to deal with.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that plane, when you get into that journey, okay, where you want to transform
Mm.
people's life in a different way, it goes upwards. I mean, that
Mm. Mm.
mountain, when you climb up the mountain, and
Yeah.
when you go
Yeah.
up and up and up, the gravitational pull is there where
Yeah.
it's keep pulling you down, so it's always
Yes.
going towards the
Yes.
opposite direction. So you have to climb up that ladder in the opposite
Mm.
direction. Always there's something which is pulling you down, and you have to fight
Oh,
with those
right.
pulls, that
Mm.
materialistic or
Mm.
whatever, those weeds and the toxicity, they
Mm.
keep on pulling you down all the time,
Sure.
and you have to fight all of that
Mm.
and keep going up and up and up, and it's not easy. So
Right.
that's difficult, but it's
Mm.
definitely not impossible if you
Mm.
have the determination.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah.
Mm. Another very important thing you just said, and especially like today you hear it in media, people talk about, earlier it used to be your passion, like say 10, 20 years ago, that was the story. Find your passion, live your passion. Like that was almost like a movement. Now I'm noticing that the language has changed and it's more about purpose. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, right? It's all in the larger scheme of things. It's exactly how we evolve as a civilization, right? But you said something very important, that when you are on that ascent and like things are pulling you back, like whether you use the word gravity, like gravity is pulling you back, uh, in your experience, what or who were these forces that helped you keep going higher and higher? What were some of those, could be people, could be moments of serendipity where just something happened and it just gave you that energy again to keep going, until of course you were able to get to a place where it's almost like what they call the clearing, right? In mountains also you have the clearing where suddenly it becomes flat even though you're on a mountain, and you have that time to be able to look down and go, wow, I've actually come this far, right? So what were some of those experiences that you've had? And I ask these questions because a lot of times people do not want to make the journey because heart of hearts they know it's going to be hard and they're going to get pulled down, so they don't want to start because they don't want to fail. But you're obviously testament to the fact that you can succeed even when you feel like gravity is pulling you back, right? Because I'm sure you had a lot of things that came in your life that kept you moving higher and higher and higher up.
So there are a few things. It's a very, very good question,
Mm.
actually. Uh, because there was a time where I was losing faith, you know. I
Mm.
mean, there
Yeah.
was a time where I'm like, I'm done. I mean, I can't. I mean, in spite of
Mm.
doing so much, I'm just getting that
Yes.
distress, and the problems are not ending, and
Yes.
I was so shattered one time. But there was
Mm.
this time where I did tarot card, and
Mm.
uh, this tarot card actually came up, and they said, "Hey,
Mm.
listen, you're going through a lot, but there is something
Mm.
higher,
Mm.
higher being,
Mm.
something like maybe
Mm.
spiritual, or something
Right.
something is there, a higher force which is keeping you this way and not letting you
Mm.
go down." Okay. And
Mm.
slowly
Mm.
my faith was coming down also, and I was almost going to leave my
Mm.
spirituality. I was feeling, I'm so fed up with
Wow.
my life, I thought. But then this tarot card showed me ki, hey, listen, don't hang
Mm.
on,
Wow.
hang on. I mean, there is
Wow.
someone
Amazing.
is helping you out, you know so
Mm.
what
Mm.
I understood also, that even whether I followed spirituality or not, what I'm going through, I'm going to go through anyway. But my spirituality is going to help me to sustain this and
Right.
increase the
Mm.
tolerance and patience. Okay, so the
Yeah.
thing is,
Yeah.
the experience which I told you, which I had, the spiritual experiences which I had quite a few. When I was deeply involved, I got really nice experience. So that really gave me a lot of faith in the process.
Mm.
So that
Mm.
faith, because of the experiences which we got, in the scriptures actually it is written also, one of the quotes, where
Mm.
whenever the person
Mm.
experiences these things, in life,
Mm.
that is the
Mm.
time
Mm.
when they have a lot of faith. Even when you are in the
Right.
worst phase of life, then also the person remembers
Mm.
those things,
Mm.
and hey, then it reminds
Yes.
you, hey, that's reality, don't forget. you know
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
forget that is
That's
reality,
right.
and you are on the right path. You just, and somewhere or the
Mm.
other, God really tests your patience when you are following this.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
really tests
Yeah.
you, and then and I think he's tested me a bit too much, but then he will only test you how much ever you can take it. Always, he will not break you down.
And that's also because you're meant for so much more.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I felt that.
I'm telling you.
I felt that. I felt that late, that I think he has certain plans in my
Yeah.
life, because of which he's actually shaping me this way.
Mm.
He's
That's it.
making me
That's
purposely
it.
experience
Yeah.
all of these things, so that I come to this
Yes.
plane, and so that I can help people. I think that's what I have always felt, that
Yes. Yes.
he has certain
Yeah.
things, certain plans in my life,
Yeah.
which I want to
Yeah.
fulfill
Yeah.
for him. So
Mm.
he's shaping me all of these things, I felt, because as I told you, when
Yeah.
I did the
That's
tarot,
right.
and so many times I have got some
Mm.
certain dreams and all of that, I'm like, okay, fine, I think I'm just getting some signals all the time, and I should just
Mm.
hang on there. And as and when things got unfolded in my life, as and when I grew, I could
Mm.
actually come to know that, yeah, I mean, he really has some purpose. He has some purpose for me, and I'm not the
That's
one
right.
who's doing things, and
Mm.
you know, it's just happening to me automatically.
That's right.
So
That's so
yeah.
true.
What was your question? I think I just got lost.
Amazing. You answered it. This is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So there are few
I'm
things.
so.
Sorry. So there are determination.
Hmm.
There is faith.
Go
There is
ahead.
faith in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
determination,
Mm.
where even if you
Mm.
don't feel like doing, this spirituality is like a medicine actually. Sometimes you just don't feel
Mm.
like doing it, and but you should do it like a
Yeah.
medicine, because you know it's going to work for sure. Again, that faith comes
Yeah.
into the picture,
Yeah.
because I've experienced whenever I
Yeah.
do it by force, also still it helps. I've seen
Mm.
things changing in my
Mm.
life. So again,
Mm.
faith, determination,
Mm.
and
Mm.
going against the gravitational force, you know having a lot of
Amazing.
oaths. I mean, oath means you need to
Mm.
actually take some promises and oaths, that
Yeah.
hey, listen,
Mm.
even if suppose,
No
no matter
matter
what,
what.
even if suppose you are maybe breaking down or whatever, at least few principles you're not going to break in life.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
actually make those principles by yourself at one time when
Mm.
you have the
Mm.
highest faith in life, so that once
Yeah.
that time
Yeah.
comes when you fall down, that principles are those ones who actually like
Mm.
pillars who don't let you fall down totally. They bring you
Yeah.
back.
Beautiful.
So
Mm.
that's what really has helped me.
Mm.
Those principles has helped me to hang
Mm.
on there, and not let me fully break down, so that I don't come back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. I must say you've been extremely generous with your life story and tapping into the energy of these stories. Um, at some level, it's like details are secondary. It's the energy which is really what this is about. And I know for people who have not only like listened, but who are literally following along with your journey at this point, there's a lot that they've picked up on, especially if there are people like us who are already not just focusing on the healing part, which is where we all start, but it's where they've gone beyond, where they realize that they have a purpose, they have a mission, and they are meant to do something more. So thank you for sharing so much of that. And now I'll ask you a couple of questions more on the lines of, when people say, okay, they've possibly read your bio by now. Maybe they know you from before and they're like, oh yeah, I want to know what does Priyanka actually do, uh, especially today, because we've got a sense of who you are and what really has shaped you into the person that you are. Um, Maybe, if you could, to start us off, like give us a sense of like who are the primary people, like you said, between, I think you said between 9 and 65, um, age group between 9 and 65, but or 7 and 65 if I'm
It's
getting my
fine.
numbers mixed up. But what's important is that, if you were to say like your primary, people that you work with, like who are they? And then maybe we can spend a little bit of time so people who are looking or people are like, oh yeah, I know somebody who will benefit from what you
Hmm.
do. So if you could share a little bit about, who would be like the main kind of folks that you work with.
So I work with a lot of couples, marriages, families, and all.
Mm, mm,
I do a lot of
mm,
couple counseling. I deal with uh,
mm,
marriages which has a lot of conflicts, which has a lot of
mm,
abuse, emotional abuse,
mm,
traumas, a lot
mm,
of
mm,
physical abuse, sexual abuse, or even
mm,
divorce, separation, infidelities, and
mm, mm,
a lot of sexual dysfunction in the marriages or outside the marriage, doesn't matter.
mm,
And I deal
mm,
with a lot of family issues, people who are dealing with a lot of family problems, relationships, where there's sas
mm,
bahu issues,
mm,
or there is a lot
mm,
of internal business issues, brothers and sisters and all of them are
mm,
having a lot of
mm.
families, like
Right.
kids. And even, of course, I deal with kids, but not very tiny kids, 9 and above, because
Mm,
I do talk
mm,
therapies. I do therapies like
mm.
cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectal behavioral therapy,
Right.
NLP. Then I do
Mm,
acceptance and commitment therapy. I do emotional focus therapy, all of that. So there are so many therapies which I
mm,
combine. I do couple
mm,
therapy, I do family therapy.
mm,
So I
mm,
deal with, I combine all these therapies, and I do for the people
mm.
who are dealing with a lot of
Mm.
relationship issues. Even teenagers I work with, where teenagers are going
Right.
through a lot of issues
Mm,
themselves. I mean, there's a new
mm,
culture which is developed. There's a lot of cultural difference right
mm,
now, what we have gone through. In our ages, there was only
mm,
one type of
mm.
relationship, right? And
Right.
nowadays there are like at least
Yeah.
20 different types of relationships. So like
Mm,
I have understood how generally teenagers deal with their issues, relationship issues,
mm,
sexual issues, as well as mental health
mm,
issues, is totally different than what we do, and we adults
mm,
do, as well as
mm,
our we
mm.
used to do, like our in my teenage. So yeah,
Right.
I deal with
Mm.
teenagers.
So just to
Yeah,
pause you here, since you're talking
yeah.
about teenagers, could you share, especially at the time of this recording, if you were to say, okay, yeah, with teenagers, these are typically the kind of problems that you notice almost as a
Yeah.
trend. Of course, there will always be aberrations, but in general, when you say, okay, like by and large, these are the kind of problems that you've come across that teenagers have, and of course, therefore, how do you what is your special way of treating or managing, like how do you do that?
So, how I manage is basically that nowadays teenagers come to me with very different problems. Uh,
Mm,
More often they come for sexual issues. Okay, now relationship
mm,
issues very common when they have lot of breakups, a
mm,
lot of rebound relationships,
mm,
getting into intimacy very early in life, and
mm,
new ways of resolving them, having a lot of friends with benefits,
mm,
having a lot of casual dating. So many actually develop
mm,
STDs as well because of that. So these are the
mm,
issues which I'm getting very commonly, and
mm,
I also give a
mm,
lot of talks, right? I mean, in colleges and schools and
mm.
all. So I was also a school
Right,
counselor
right.
earlier. So over there, they get
Mm,
into relationship very early, like in seventh, eighth standard
mm,
only. And people who are
mm,
younger, like fifth, sixth standard, okay, these people, they
mm,
don't know anything about relationships, but they just pretend to be like. because they're so influenced by their teenagers. Then they start having a lot of what do you call that? Shipping. They call it as shipping. I mean, they start
Mm.
uh, you know making two people pairing. I mean, pairing, you can say. So this is a new word, shipping, which I've
Okay.
come to know in the school only myself.
Even I haven't. First time I'm
Yeah, so
hearing it.
there's so
Huh.
many new terms actually, which even I have learned after I
Right.
became a school
Right.
counselor, where these
Right.
kids are using like shipping and this and that, where they pair girl and a boy. And so these things are very, they get
Okay.
into relationships very early, and they have a lot of exposure in
Mm.
through the internet. So they get into porn
Mm.
addiction a lot,
Mm.
they get into sex addiction a lot, and they
Mm.
get into masturbation addiction a lot. So they get into so many new addiction phases
Mm.
because of the early exposure related to porn
Mm.
and all of these things early in life. And
Right.
then they get very
Mm.
inquisitive, they get very curious, and then
Mm.
they try to
Mm.
do a lot of search in the internet, and they come
Mm.
across so many things, and then they get. So these are the ways where people get into addiction, because see, the kids are kids, like they think everything black and white, right?
Mm.
So they
Mm.
don't think, they don't have that maturity to understand, hey, this is not your age. So
Mm.
they are inquisitive, they do it, they like it, and they continue doing it. Simple as that. And that becomes a coping
Mm.
mechanism in their life.
Mm.
And whenever they are distressed, they do it.
Mm.
Simple. So this becomes very
Mm.
common. So these are the issues which teenagers and
Mm.
kids are, which I come across. Then of course the mental health. Now the thing is,
Mm.
there are
Mm.
few things like in the another society where mental health is concerned. Now they're extremely too much careful about mental health. They say, oh my god, I'm into depression, even if they're not. If they get a little bit, oh,
Mm.
I've got anxiety
Mm.
issues. So so they have made this mental health as a little, like a term which is used very commonly.
Mm.
Or
Right.
many people don't even realize they're going through one. And it is because of the
Yeah.
upbringing, of course, the background which they're coming from.
Mm.
So I deal with
Mm.
these issues
Mm.
where they have a lot of anxiety related to the competitive
Mm.
surroundings related to studies and
Mm.
achieving something big
Mm.
in life.
Right.
It's very, the competition
Mm.
is too much, and everybody just wants to show off
Mm.
how good they are. And
Mm.
don't work on the core issues, they just work on the superficial things every time. So here I do a
Mm.
lot of talks on
Mm.
that as well, for the teenagers,
Mm.
where which
Mm.
is which they
Right.
need to actually focus on what they need to focus on. They're leaving that aside and just focusing on just doing the other things. And also people are kind of
Mm.
lost in career as well. Again, there's a
Mm.
lot of
Mm.
rat race happening, a lot of peer pressure happening. They think only being a doctor
Mm.
and an engineer is the only way out where they
Mm.
can become big and famous and get a lot of money. But believe me, that is not true. So yeah, I mean, teenagers are going through a lot of career issues where they don't know the right
Mm.
potential. So yeah, I actually had a TED
Mm.
talk. I mean, and I've done a TEDx
Mm.
speech on how to find their true potential in life. So there also
Mm.
it makes
Mm.
like people are lost in understanding their true potential, and they just go with the flow types.
Mm.
So yeah, I deal with all these
Right.
these kind of issues in teens.
Got it. Mm. So the other kind of folks you talked about were typically couples, uh, different, let's say connections that they have. The more sort of legal, formal, what has been there for decades before, and then let's say things that are happening nowadays, right? So if you were to say, like typically when you talk about couples today, let's say in their somewhere between their 30s and their 50s, what would you say are some of the things that you've noticed, that are different? And of course, in noticing them, I'm sure you've developed, mechanisms, ways to be able to help these people who are in the relationships or in these relationships, especially people in their 30s to 50s. So what are some of those, maybe the problems that you noticed in these
Hmm.
marriages? And then of course, how do you help them
Yeah.
deal with it, cope with it?
See, now the thing is, in between 30s and 50s, there's a lot of changes in the mindset which has happened. You know,
Mm.
then our parents' generation. There's a lot of difference in the mindset. When they were in their 20s, they used to think differently, and when they have come to 30s, they have started thinking differently about relationships. They have
Right.
become more liberal. Okay, they have become much more acceptance is there, that it is okay if the relationship is not working. There have been a lot of divorces happening in the relationships after 15 years of marriage, 20 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage. In fact, in my society, I have come across where they are in their late 60s and 70s, where they got divorced. Okay, so
Wow.
now they have understood that it is not necessary that they have to tolerate each other for the rest of their lives. This
Right.
shift has come, and also the shift has come that it is okay to divorce, and divorce has no more become a stigma, or or a label. So in nearly in every family, it's become very common to have divorces. So, and another common thing which has happened is that to fulfill their desires, they have started looking out for, different sources, you know like for sexual, if they're just sexually deprived, what to do? Hey, there are so many friends and benefits happening, fine, just go ahead with it you know
Correct.
so uh, and then, so even if you suppose you want an emotional support, you can get it from anywhere. So that has become very a shift where they have started, they are okay to live alone. They are okay to not marry and just live in has become very common. Then they have also started focusing on the higher purpose also, to a certain extent, where they don't give so much of importance in marriages now. And they feel ki, like, even if you're alone, it's okay. I mean, you get satisfied anyway, so why do you want to take the burden of just getting married, and having kids? So kids have become burdens as well, you know where they don't want to have any kids anymore. They're happy. There are many couples who are married but they don't want to have kids. It's fine. you know that is also a shift right now, and people have accepted that. Why it's necessary to have kids? I mean, why do you have to have kids? Why can't you just enjoy? Yeah, they have this formula where you earn double, enjoy double, and no kids. So that way. So these are the new shifts in our generation, where, like, between 30s to
Right.
50s, they have started developing. And even in the mindset of the parents of these ages has also changed, where they're okay if their children are
Right.
dating with multiple partners, and all of that. That acceptance have been there, where it's fine to have a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends and experimenting with relationships. And but actually, because of too many relationships, there's a lot of trauma you develop, and there's a lot
Right.
of trust issues which you develop, and you need to
Right.
understand the purpose of getting into the relationship also. Many
Right.
people just go with the flow types, but you need to understand what is that emotional need which you're looking for. So
Right.
yeah, I would like to speak about that later, that to something to give to the society,
Sure.
where
Sure.
what you need to look for in the relationship, and how
Mm.
do you understand the purpose of the relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you mentioned, purpose of life, and then of course purpose of
Yes,
relationships,
yes,
right?
yes.
So let me ask you this, Priyanka. Like I said, you very generously shared your story about how you discovered where originally, initially, you had never thought you would be doing what you're doing today. But life is funny like that. There's somewhere with a series of, experiences, decisions, we kind of get to a certain place. And having said that, there's a lot that has shifted, even in India, especially since COVID. When we talk about, mental health, we talk about uh, opportunities for people to be able to teach what they're, really passionate about and what they believe is their purpose to be able to give to the world, right? Especially when we talk about healing and coaching. Um, So two things that are very, very close to me. One is, when we talk about community, right? I know that is actually, this is my philosophy, if you want to call it that I really believe that community makes a lot of difference, especially for people who are coaches and healers. So I'd love to hear your perspective on, and also importantly, if someone was to look into, like a fly on the wall, see what happens in Priyanka's community. Like, what is it that you do, and what's your take on community?
Transformation. I mean,
Mm,
I believe in transformation. If I'm giving something to the community and
mm,
people are not getting transformed, it's a waste of time for me. So,
right.
yeah, I mean, when I do a lot of workshops and seminars and webinars and
Mm,
everything, and in that,
mm,
I always give something which is totally transformational. That information, that
mm,
experience. I give them
mm,
a lot of tools and techniques in my community where they can really
mm,
help themselves. Being emotionally independent is the most important thing in this world, you know, because
mm,
if you're emotionally
mm,
independent, you will feel satisfied. You will not be so vulnerable in life, but that's
mm,
not easy.
mm.
That's not easy. Being emotionally
Right.
independent is
Yeah.
definitely not
True.
easy. So people
Mm,
can't generally live alone, and
mm,
of course you don't need to also, you don't need to live alone. You
mm,
should have somebody in your life, but in
mm,
the state of
mm,
mind where you are so independent. So when they look at
mm,
me in my community, I make my people
mm,
emotionally independent, understand their potential, understand
mm,
what is the
mm,
uh, right path they
mm,
need to take, keeping their potential in mind, keeping their interest in mind,
mm,
keeping their
mm.
values in mind, you know.
Right.
So because when they don't
Mm,
understand, they just go with the flow types, their potential is
mm.
compromised as well as their values are compromised over there,
Right.
you
Mm,
know.
mm. Yeah.
So
True. Very
hence
true.
it is important where they should
So,
understand what are their
a couple of
values which they are
last
holding on
questions.
to,
Yeah.
and live
Mm,
the life. Yeah.
mm. Yo, we're back. We're back. There was a bit of a
Okay.
lag, but we're back.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
You were saying?
So
No, no.
yeah,
And live
live the
there?
life according to the values of your own. Means many people don't realize they have certain values. So I help them discover that.
Mm,
Yeah, I help them discover their
nice.
value system. I help them discover their potential, their purpose,
Beautiful.
and and of
Mm,
course there are some therapeutic tools and techniques with the help of that, like
yeah.
acceptance and commitment therapy is
Mm,
all about purpose
mm,
and values and all of that. So we work
mm,
on these
mm.
therapeutic tools and techniques. So my entire whenever I heal people and whenever I give
Right.
anything to people, whether the transformation, whether it is mental health, relationships, it's all
Mm,
therapeutic. Generally everything is therapeutic.
mm.
I do all kinds of, I use all kind of therapeutic tools, techniques, integrated therapies, and that's how I help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. Amazing. Amazing. Is there, like, as we start to wrap, is there, maybe something that you're right now wanting more people to know about? It could be a book, it could be a talk, it could be a, webinar, since we're talking about, access today, a lot of it happens digitally. So is there something where you'd like to direct people and maybe tell us a little bit about what that is
See,
presently?
I have a community, and I
Mm,
keep having these group therapies. Okay, now these group
mm,
therapies are very economical. Now the thing is, what happens is people don't come for
mm,
therapies because first of all it becomes expensive for them, or they
mm.
have a lot of
Yeah.
stigmas, they have a lot of they don't want to disclose anything, they don't want to disclose that
Mm,
there
mm,
is that I want to if whatever, if I share, what if the person judge me, or I can
mm.
handle myself, I mean I don't need to discuss these things. Why do you need a therapist? Therapy is all
Correct.
about just talking, I can talk to anybody. What is so
Mm,
different about it?
mm.
So they have so many
Yeah. Yeah.
hang-ups where therapy is concerned, so
Mm,
that is why
yeah.
I have a group therapy where I discuss things myself related to different topics where anger is
Mm,
concerned or anxiety is there. Sometimes I talk about respect. Sometimes I talk about self-respect, sometimes I talk about vulnerabilities. So there are different topics which I discuss, and then they can have a question answer sessions related to that, and they can disclose in the group as well. And when they
Right.
disclose, in that, many people have that realization that they are not alone suffering.
Right. Yeah.
So
Very true.
because of that,
Beautiful.
they realize that there is something more to it, and I can resolve it. And if I reach out to
Mm.
people, there is definitely help available. And many people even
Yeah.
don't realize it, that there are so many other ways of dealing with the situation, because they have never experienced,
Yeah.
or they have never got any kind of
Mm.
exposure related to that, right? So in group therapy,
Mm. Mm.
so many new things come up from different people, new ideas. So I'm not the only
Mm.
one who give
Mm.
only suggestions. I
Yeah.
ask from people what
Mm.
have they used, in day-to-day life. What
Mm.
if, like, okay, fine, you
Mm.
had this problem, how did you deal with it? Okay, they will give some tool. Okay, I have dealt with this
Mm.
way, I have dealt with it that way. So you get
Right.
many ideas.
Yeah.
Even I get to learn a lot of things, from there.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, this is one thing I would like to introduce to people, where they can come and join. it's
Mm.
a it's a paid one, but it is
Yeah.
minimum paid one, because what happens is,
Sure.
when I tried the free
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
many people were just taking for
Mm.
granted and nobody was coming. So I'm like, once they
Yeah.
pay at least little
Yeah.
bit, they'll
Yeah.
come, make an effort to come.
Exactly. Exactly. You've got their attention and they're
Yeah.
paying with not just the money, but
Yes,
with their
and it is
attention.
minimum, so it will
Right.
not pinch them
So,
also. You know,
yeah.
so they will not feel
Mm.
that they'll
Mm.
get like a low cost therapy, and
Yeah.
individual
Yeah.
therapies are intensive, and it becomes expensive
Mm.
for them. So this group therapy becomes very very
Yeah.
economical for them.
Exactly. Beautiful. So, of course, your links are all included, especially when people watch this on YouTube. And I think even on Facebook, while it's going out as a live, they should be able to see your links. So, for people, especially if you've been, watching all this while you're listening to this right now, that means you've heard us all the way through. And you've heard Priyanka, most importantly, and her story, her journey. And, firstly, big thank you to you, Priyanka, for taking the time. We're at the middle of the week. You've taken time to be here on this pod. So thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your heart, because you've shared with that openness. So that's what makes this pod special. So thank you so much for your time that you've
Thank
taken
you so
today.
much, Rahul, for inviting me. It was, in fact, I
My
was
pleasure.
actually looking for this kind of platform where I can share these things. And I was thinking, like, initially I was a little anxious, like, what will I share? What will I talk?
Yeah.
And once you go with the flow, you just, go and share so many good
That's
things.
right.
And I'm really glad that I'm
Yeah.
here and I could disclose so many things which can actually help people to,
Yeah.
maybe
That's right.
have some kind of insights.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, and I meant every word of it, that just the way you shared, I know it will not just inspire people, but it will just remind them that this journey, it's not easy. Being a healer, being someone who feels, and you talked about, that's why my antenna like kind of like picked up on when you said spirituality. It just means that you've had an experience. I'm literally like getting goosebumps as I'm sharing this with you. It's like this for them becomes that reminder that, you know what, if Priyanka's been through this and she's here to tell the story, that means even if I'm right now where Priyanka was, it's okay. Yeah, because there will come a point where I get to share my story and talk about how, yeah, there was this time in my life where I had these experiences. So one final question I want to ask you, and I've realized if I don't, then I am, so I'm holding myself accountable to this. And I realized that for all of us to get here, we've all had a journey of mentors. So in your own words, if you could share, who are some of these people that over the last so many years who have come into your life that have shaped you, because none of us made it here on our own, right? We've always had at different points in our life people who just somehow, like out of the blue, they came and they gave us that hope at that point. And today, as you look back, you're like, yeah, I'm sure there will be many, but even if you were to say like, yeah, these names like really stand out, that these people made a difference and they were your mentors at different points on your journey.
So yeah, I mean, there have been a few. The mentor in my life, there was this lady who was very compassionate and who was very patient enough to answer my questions. As I told you, I was like a question
Right.
mark, and she used to call
Hmm.
me Prashna Chandni, because I used to keep calling. The thing is, I
Wow.
told you I need answers, I need a logical reasoning for everything, and she convinced
Hmm.
me every bit, like, hey,
Wow.
this is what it is, hey, that is what it is. And she never showed any kind of
Hmm.
irritation in her, even slightest
Hmm.
frown I did not see. So that was really
Hmm.
helpful for me.
Hmm.
And it's been, I think, more than 16 years. I can't forget her, and I'm
Wow.
extremely thankful and
Right.
grateful to her. Where she
Would you like to share her
Yeah, her
name
name
as
is
well?
Labanga Manjari, Mataji, and
Hmm.
she
Wow.
was around that time. She was younger. I think she was just in early 20s, if I'm not mistaken. And
Wow.
she was so
Wow.
knowledgeable. She was so knowledgeable. And
Wow.
even if she
Amazing.
sees she sees this podcast. I mean, I don't know whether she remembers me or not. She
Hmm.
must be. She doesn't. She's not in town right
Hmm.
now. But I mean,
Right.
I'm so thankful to her, because see, it's very important when
Right.
you are a mentor. You should
Hmm.
not be judgmental, and you should have enough
Yeah.
patience. You will get such weird people in your life like me who will ask you hundreds of stupid questions. And these people who are extremely curious, they need answers, and then only they will go
Yeah.
ahead with it.
Yeah.
So
Also because they grow up to be you now. So no stupid questions at
I
all.
maybe I got those. So yeah, I'm very thankful to her, and also
Hmm.
my temple community, where I have
Hmm.
seen they all are so compassionate and so patient enough. I
Hmm.
just feel that I'm when I go to the temple, it's not about the temple atmosphere. It's about the people over there,
Hmm.
which makes that place
Hmm.
bliss. Why? Because that entire the so the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and my
Hmm.
mentors like Nityanand Charan
Hmm.
Prabhu and other. I don't know whether you know Nityanand Charan Prabhu. I mean, Nityanand Charan, he is very
No.
famous now. I mean, that time I used to help
Okay.
him a lot,
Hmm.
and he has given me
Hmm.
a lot of support. And there have been
Hmm.
these mentors have really, and yeah, now the most important, my mom. My mom,
Hmm.
she's very spiritual by nature, though she follows something else. But the
Hmm.
seed she has put in right from my childhood.
Right.
you know
Yeah. Yeah.
so in my childhood, in
Totally.
the background, the bhajans used to go on, though I used to just love
Hmm.
bhajans that time. But I was not spiritual. Again, as I told you, I was not spiritual. I just used to like the
Hmm.
tune of it,
Hmm.
and I used to sing it. I used to
Hmm.
love it.
Hmm.
But as I told you, that I need answers. So even if she used to tell me, "Hey, fast that sola somvar because you'll get good husband," I am like, "I'm sorry," you know. But again, she has put that seed in me. Slowly, slowly, it has been so gradual and so subconsciously it has gone into my mind
Nice.
that
Beautiful.
this particular thing has drawn me. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, there
Hmm.
are few these mentors which
Amazing.
has shaped me this way in my life.
Hmm. Amazing. Thank you for sharing this. Like I said, why I realized I had missed the opportunity. Like we are now at this time, more than 50 of these, people who are mentors to others, people who are healers and coaches. This is one thing I had missed, that I realized that a lot of times when you share like this, you don't know who's hearing their name and how that is making a difference in that person's life, right? Because of those people who were there in your life 10, 15, 20 years ago, or even beyond, they shaped you to be who you are. So there's something in them, and maybe that is meant to go out into more and more people's lives. So like I said, I've made it my mission that I will always ask this question, because I know it can help so many other people who are out there, right? So, and of course, this is also a way of expressing gratitude for in this moment, like they've heard you, right? For the role that you played in their life and they played
Yeah,
in your life
yeah,
as well.
true.
Yeah. So thank you so much once again, Priyanka. And of course, for those of you who are listening and you know who you are because you've reached this point, I can tell you that there's something about Priyanka's energy that has drawn you in, and that's why you're here listening to her and learning about, and being inspired by her life. And so, like I always say, and I'll say it again, it's like, remember to live your purpose, because that's why you're here on this journey, and that's why you've tuned into this pod. So, this is not the end, this is just the beginning, and there are many, many more stories that will come to you. So a big thank you to you for taking the time to watch all the way till here. And of course, we will be back with many, many more. So as always, having said all of that, of course, remember to live your purpose. God bless. And of course, Priyanka, one more time, thank you. God bless. And may you keep going out and being the light in so many people's lives. As you said, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 65 and beyond. So may you continue to do the amazing work that you're doing. Yeah. So give me one quick second while I just pause our live feeds. Nice.